Grand rising is what they say, I guess. Welcome, everyone. Also, welcome to our members. We see you and appreciate you. And before Roger and Wilhelm are coming in, I'm going to guide us into peace and calm so that we can receive the information that we need to move forward with ease and grace, right? So let me insert some magic into the room. So as you see, Roger has his eyes closed. Feel free to join us. I will also close my eyes now. And I want you to connect to your heart, the sacred place in the middle of your chest. Allow yourself to drop into yourself. You're looking for fragments of you, eventually outside of yourself, though they are all inside of you. You are perfect the way you are. The perfection that we see in the world, or what society is seeing as perfect, or what we sometimes perceive as perfect, might not be the right thing to look at it that way. You are perfect with all of you, your uniqueness, being different, and you celebrating your you being different allows yourself to stand out, allows yourself, just like Roger, just like me, just like Stan, just to do what you can do best. And this is how you serve the world. There's no one you need to please. There's no one that can tell you who you are rather than yourself. You can listen to guidance that is being offered to you on a daily basis. The signs are everywhere, as you may already aware of it. So let this be a sign for you and drop into your heart. Allow yourself to receive information that helps you on your way. Allow yourself to receive the love and the light and the healing that comes through the information that we channel. Allow yourself to be part of it. We are all one, and our goal is to help you, to serve you. As when we are able to do that, you help us in an equal exchange, if you believe or not. Life is not a one-way street, and what you get out is what you get back. Sometimes it is difficult to receive help, to ask for help. So let's take the word support. We are here to support you. And the support comes from our hearts. So let yourself be guided within the next time with Roger and Wilhelm. And we see each other later again. All my love and appreciation. Thanks for you being here and for being part of this wonderful journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we are ready to begin. We are so pleased you're here, and we have waited for you your entire lives. Now, we know we say that to you each time. And if you've never heard us before, you will understand that because we speak to you from your eternal self, you see, because you are eternal spiritual beings, and you decided to be alive during this time of transition in your world, which we've called your restructuring, because you had something to offer. And what you came to offer is within you and is meant to be called forth now. This is why we said you were meant to thrive now. You each have different evolutionary paths that you're on, but they coincide with your world. We've said this restructuring is about creating a new balance, and this is why it looks so chaotic in your world. But what we see is great opportunity, and that great opportunity comes through each of you. Now, we have given you messages over the last several years to show you and bring you to this particular time and this particular day because it's so powerful in your world. There's an a configuration of your planets that is available for you to take the energy that it's offering you to become your best self. You see, and each of you have that. And all the difficulties, everything that you are seeing occurring in your world is because you have not owned all of you. That's all, because you are that powerful. Now, it takes a while on your individual journey for you to come to understand how powerful you are, what your unique life path has offered you. But that's why we gave you guidance, you see. But even that was challenging for our messenger to accept. How could we have given him this information years ago? Well, we did because we're not limited by your linear time. We can see exactly where you are and where your world is, which is why we've done all of this. When we began doing these talks, we said it was to help you with your fear and doubt, because we knew that's where you would be now. You would be having so much fear in your lives and in your world that you wouldn't possibly be able to do and perform the restructuring, which is where we've been guiding you. That's what all of our work has been, is to bring you to this moment. And this particular day is so powerful because Pluto had moved a couple of days ago, and you don't completely understand that, and many of you will not understand why we gave you our messenger's astrological chart. See, because we wanted each of you to understand that if you do a discovery into who you are, you start to find these great things that you came forth to bring into the world. They're all within you. There's no separation. And that is a message that we gave you several days ago, but you might not have seen it, when we said the misery, any misery, is your belief in separation. And that separation is you separating from your source, from God, from all that is, or whatever it is, because each of you are connected. You just figure that out as you move along your evolutionary path, which is your physical life experience. That's what you're living now. Now, we gave you something many years ago where we talked about the Israeli and Palestine disagreement, let's call it. And it's here now. But we told you about it years ago. We say these things because you evolve in your consciousness, and it's a thing that you do through your lives, and you have to use linear time to be able to do that, which is why we can give you things years ago that you come to understand later. But you all come to understand it, and then your world collectively comes to understand it, but you're not there yet. And this is why we've said you probably have another more than a year of moving through this kind of disruption to come to wholeness, because that's where you're moving. You're all moving to oneness, but that's a generational thing that will not happen in this particular lifetime. However, what you each are here to do now is to become your complete self. That means moving through every limitation, every judgment that you've had about yourself, every idea that you had that said you weren't enough or that you didn't have what it takes. And we'll tell you what's going on for many of you now. Some of you are completely frightened. You don't know what's happening to you. Your bodies are changing. They're going in different places, and you can't figure out why that is. It's because you're being asked to ascend. That means changing. That means becoming lighter. That means going to the light. And you can only do that when you drop your baggage. And what we've said is your baggage is your weight. It's your weight of your past. Everything that you've judged about yourself or others, that's your past. Where you are now is in this moment of now is where you have the most power, is where you have the most ability to create the life that you want, and thereby the world that you want. And we've said before many times, but many of you didn't hear us, but you will now, because we said that the world that you want to see is not guaranteed, meaning that unless you do something, your world keeps going into disarray. And if you do something now that causes it to become better, your life becomes better. And that's what we mean, to get you to understand, to guide you to the understanding of how vital you are, how important you are to be in the world now. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. This is the other thing that many of you have done. You've compared yourself to others, and you think that your particular thing is not as powerful or is not going to make that much of a difference. And this is why we've given you everything we have over the last several weeks. We wanted you to understand how your world is created. It's energy, and you use your energy, and it's about your time that you have to use, but it's also frequency. It's all of those things that you put together. And then when you start to understand the physics, let's say, of how you create things in your life, then you can do that in your world. There are none of you that are less than another. That's what you come to understand over generations. Now, This is a generational change. This is why it's so challenging. This is why we had to look at things hundreds of years ago, but maybe 500 years ago. We brought that up. And we gave you a message the other day where we talked about Luther. Many of you did not understand that, but we were talking about Martin Luther because there was a time that he was breaking away from the patriarchal stance at that time. You each are doing that now, meaning you have to let go of those old ideas of control and power that have been existing in your civilization, which doesn't allow each of you to experience the beautiful people that you are, the benevolent souls as you are. Now, this is not about judgment, though, because you have to understand your path is going to be different. And we showed you something else. We had our being give you a little more information because we want each of you to understand your history. You won't go back to his ancient history as we have had him do, but we showed you this week because we wanted you to understand. We revealed a little bit of his Akashic Records reading that he had done, which he still hasn't shown to everyone, but we had him show some of that because it was shocking to him to understand that he had this ancient memory, this past, that could be available now to help all of you. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't make him any more or better than you. It just makes his path one that is serving the whole, just as you are. You each come in with something that you're to develop, and then you give that to others. That's how your world evolves. You can't believe that you're in your physical bodies forever. You are not. You come into the physical world, you develop something within you, and then you give it to others. And then if you choose to come back and have another life, that's what you can do. However, we want to talk about this particular life right here and now because you have the opportunity to make everything better by becoming your best self. And that is an evolutionary journey. You each have restrictions and limitations that have come from your ancestors, and they're all showing up now because they were necessary. The things that we said about the United States, the reason we said that is because Pluto was very influential in what was happening in the United States. The United States then passed on its beliefs, ideas onto the rest of your world, and none of you did it correctly. None of you did it where it would serve all of you. And that's what you're doing now. You're doing a correction, a course correction, let's call it, or a rebalancing. This is why the feminine energy is going to be so important during this time, and we're meaning for all souls. It's not just about women because they do represent more of it, and this is why they're becoming much more prominent now, and why you're seeing more of the uprisings. And we also said that you're going to change your economic systems because those have been off balance since eons ago, where you had emperors and those great beings who controlled all the wealth, and then you didn't have it. You're here to change that balance, and you can do that by allowing yourself to become abundant, by allowing yourself to bring in the riches that you could use to make a difference in your world, because you're allowing people to starve because you haven't allowed yourself to prosper. That's all that it is. We can say this because we know who we're speaking to, you see, because others would not hear us. And there are many in your planet who will never understand this, and this is why it's been challenging for you, because there's a part of you that knows that you want things better, that you want to see a different world, that you want to love others, and you've had your own struggles, and those have all been internal, and those internal struggles have been you not loving yourself. That's all. And so the more of you do that, and we want you to use logic, we led our being back to Parmenides, so we want you to understand very early philosophers, and they knew that particularly if you came into balance, if you just use your logic, that you would understand how important it would be for you to become your best self, because then you pass it on to others. There is no way that you could look at your world today and think that it just magically appeared. No, it was about beings who came into the world at a particular time, decided to access information, and then bring it to the world. Now, you don't always do that because you have doubt. You have fear and doubt, and the doubt is always of yourself. But it doesn't matter. It's all your great leaders have had that. They've experienced that. Even our being, he couldn't believe that we gave him your life operating instructions, and we did. And your life operating instructions is a philosophy. It's an idea that has no religion, that has no differences, that has no judgment, that has nothing. It has only love. And the love that comes through you, that's what it is. And until more of you come to that understanding, you still keep fighting each other. And we just want to know how long you're going to keep killing yourself, Because see, that's what happens when you don't own who you are. You're killing yourself internally in this physical body and in your world, and then nothing changes, you see. And when you understand that you are all one, and that's an idea and a concept that none of you have gotten to, your world hasn't gotten to that, but that's the place that you're moving to. That is the rebalancing that we're speaking of, that you're each attempting to do. But you've held back. You all do, but that's okay. We don't want you to judge yourself. We just want you to become aware of what is happening now. And this is why we said in our message, there are no accidents. Nothing has happened accidentally in your life, and nothing is happening accidentally in your world. It only matters when you decide to understand your importance, when you decide to embrace more of who you are, to remember your eternal nature, your connection to all that is, and your importance for being in the world. And again, that's going to be an individual choice that is influenced by what you have lived previously. And many of you have lived existences where you were put down, where you were not understood, where you were marginalized. We've said all of that. And it's going to be different for all of you. But when you move through it, you see things differently. Our being here, you can see he came through things where at one time his relatives, which he doesn't remember them, but they were slaves. They were being owned by others. They weren't supposed to be equal. That is not the case now, but it won't be the case in your future unless more of you decide to understand that evolutionary process, you see, because that evolutionary process is an understanding of consciousness. And when you can let go of the things that you've used to separate yourselves from others, then you have a very different world. All the struggles that you're seeing is this belief in that one is better than the other. One of you has more, one of you, that never occurs in any form of civilization, but you never come to understand that completely because it is a journey. Now, the reason it's a journey, because some of you want to hold on to the past. You're holding on to the past in your lives, and then you're holding on to that past in your world. And then you're afraid of the future. That's what it is, and that's what you're going to see now, because the planet's going to keep changing. The planet is going to continue to evolve. And the only thing that happens is you decide in your individual life how easy you're going to make it. And that's about letting go of resistance. And the resistance is always about you becoming that next version of who you are. And that is something you do in your consciousness. Everything we have given you, we've given you a plan, and we do it in using your neuroscience because you can understand that, meaning that you have ideas that tell you who you are. Many of them you've been given that don't serve you because they've been limited, but you can change them when you decide to take conscious control of your thoughts. And we showed you a being who did that every single day and healed his life through the information that we gave him, because we thought if we gave you an example of what you could accomplish, it would make more sense. And it's everything. It's about your physical bodies, because many of you are moving through changes now that might be frightening, but we're telling you that if you let go of the resistance, you can heal. We've shown you all of that with our being. He's healed so many things, and we just had him do a few others just to give you proof of that. As we said in this last meeting that we had with you, he had to go get his heart checked. And then they found out, and we said it wouldn't be anything, and that was true. It wasn't anything except he was not loving himself. And that's true for all of you, because you've done things that you judge yourselves about. You've done things that you think you were doing wrong. And we're saying, no, you are being prepared for this particular time in your life and in your world. See, because if you start to reinterpret everything that you did, you put a different energy into the world. You put an energy of empowerment, of self-actualization, and then everything changes. You stop seeing others as the enemy. That's the thing that you do. You see others as the enemy, and the only enemy that exists is in your thinking, because you don't know how powerful you are. But it is an individual evolutionary process. However, we gave you a plan that you could change your entire world, because we know that can happen. Because if you reach the place, as our being has, where you have no judgment of others, where you love others, where you don't see things as being wrong, where you see them as always growing, as always becoming more, then you change not only yourself and your life experience, but your entire planet. And that's what is happening now. Many others will call this something else. We call it a restructuring. And we've given you the information. You can hear all sorts of things, but we knew that the only way that you were going to get this is if you sit down and did something every day. If you sat down and worked through your limitations, if you use your physical body, your mind, to work through these limitations that you've had, then you start to prosper. Then you start to have the energy of everything moving through. We want you to understand everything is energy, and there are qualities of that energy. And each of you have that. You've had lives where you were terrible people, where you did things that destroyed others. We could take you back to that history, but that's not important for today. But you've all had it, and others have had that now, and some are still living that particular ideology out now. They're still living that. And you're going to see them fighting. You're going to see them anger. You're going to see them blaming everyone else. And we've given you that information as well. Because during this time, as you're going through this dramatic change in your world, you're going to try to blame everyone else for your particular circumstance or situation, or you're going to blame a particular leader or country, or when it's each of you. You each have the power to change everything, and it's within you. And so what we've always said, there's no hierarchy of souls. When we gave you the information before about when the queen died a while ago, and we said that was a symbolic change, because see, there was so much that was ruled around that whole dynasty that needed to change so that more people could become their best selves, let's say. And now they're attempting to do that. It's going to be a long journey, but they are moving in a new direction. However, we also had our being see something the other day, because we always plan these things for you so you can have a better idea of your connectedness. You each have these great individual blueprints, these divine plans. You all have them, that once you understand them and uncover them, you have these glorious lives. And so we led him back to seeing a Jewish leader from that he didn't understand who this person was, but he went to his grammar school, had that name. He never understood it, but there was an essence there that we wanted him to see, even though he tried. It was a video, actually, and he tried to skip past it. We said, no, we want you to see it. Because, see, what he saw was Theodor Herzl. That's the school that he went to. Now, everyone will have a different idea about what he was about. But, see, he had this vision that there could be a better world if people understood who they were. If people understood that they had this power. And see, Roger is that same thing. He has that. He's carried it. And he has this mission that has been difficult for him to embody, just as your mission is difficult for you to embody. But it doesn't matter, because we've given you a plan. And if you work with it, if you keep moving, you have a very different life experience and a very different world. Now, the reason that we said that this will be going on for a year, which is why we have advised everyone to stay in our work for that long, because you don't change overnight. And that's the problem that many of you have, that you keep running from one thing to the other, trying to find relief, when the relief is always within you. And if you were to take the time each day to do that, as our being did, that's how he healed everything. He didn't do it instantly. However, he has consolidated all to give to you, so you don't have to do that. That's what each of you do as you live a physical life and come into this world. You move through your particular limitations that have always existed, and then you can have a very different world. Now, this is an extraordinary time that none of you have experienced, which is why it's so chaotic. However, that is also why we say it is the best opportunity for you. Because if you decide, I'm going to love myself and I'm going to do those things that I put away, I'm going to correct all my thinking that told me I was bad. I'm going to correct all my thinking that told me I failed at something before. That never happened. I was just learning where I was going. I was just figuring that out. That's a very different energy. Then you start to experience this joy. And then you start laughing like our being does all the time. And you wonder why he can sit and look at you and hear all of your problems and difficulties and smile. Because he knows that it's a process that you're moving through that is guiding you to become your best self. And the more of you who do that, you have a very different world. He's never going to give up, as we had him say the other day, that he's going to heal the world and no one can stop him. Because he knows what you can do. He knows how powerful you are, and he knows that if more people come together, because this is a collective time that you're moving into, as we've said before, this age of Aquarius, yes, that is real. And you can find it in your planetary configurations now, but you will see also how that's going to take a while to get there. But you're in that now. And the way you do that is by loving yourselves first and becoming all you can be. And that will permeate to the rest of your world. But you also are going to have to understand, as we've said, that you're going to see the others. And what we mean by that is everyone who doesn't agree with you. It's all coming up now, because this is all very old energies that have existed on your planet for eons, as we've said. So they're all coming up. But it's a good thing if you can move through them. It's a great thing if you can decide that you're going to become who you're meant to be, because each of you have given something. You don't trust it all the time. And the thing that we've also said, the thing that you fear the most is your gift. Because, see, it's so different for each of you. It's individual, and it doesn't look like whatever has been in your plan. It doesn't look like anyone else, and then you don't trust it all the time. But this is why we've given you our work, and this is why we're going to talk about it more today. And we know that we have so many questions that we're going to get to, and we're going to answer them, and we're going to begin now, because we have nothing more than we want to do is to get more of you to understand how vital you are and how important this particular day and this time in your planet is, how important it is for you to come to that understanding. So we will begin with your questions.
Okay, we are opening up the question and answer portion of the session right now. Please use the Q&A button to ask your question. Click on the Q&A button, ask your question, and I will ask it on your behalf. Questions from the chat will not be asked. And your question may be rephrased for greater understanding or online streaming compliance. So please start sending us your questions, and they're coming in. First question we're going to ask. A few weeks ago, I was undergoing a diagnostic ADHD study. And during a session with my psychologist, I was prompted to, excuse me, my screen went blank for a second. Here we go. A few weeks ago, I was undergoing a diagnostic ADHD study. And during a session with the psychologist, I was prompted to share a couple of very traumatic experiences in my childhood. One was the kidnapping of my mother. The second was when my mother underwent a series of foot and leg amputations. This is trauma I had never talked about. And the week following, I had dreams with loved ones who passed every single night. One night, after a dream, I woke up and I felt a strong energy come in from my feet upwards, with an emphasis on places where my mother had the amputations. The energy kept moving through my body all the way to my neck, and I felt a silent scream coming from my gut and chest. I can't explain it. It wasn't audible, and I felt like I had to let out a loud scream. Is this my inner being healing me from trauma? Much gratitude and lots of hugs.
Yes, and we couldn't have asked for a more perfect question to begin, because all of those things were memories that were coming up from you, and they're ancestral, and all the things that your parents, your mother, all those difficulties that they had, you're meant to transcend. And so your higher self was awakening you to that, and you were having all these dreams so that you wouldn't miss it, so it wouldn't be lost in you, because otherwise you would think that many of you do, like they were coincidences, and they were not. They were awakening you, and the scream that you felt was because you're wanting to express it. But give yourself time, because you're coming awake. We're so pleased that you're here, because you have awakened to so much of this generational trauma that all of you are moving through. And as you become more aware of your process, because you already are, you couldn't have written it that way, as you become more aware of that and demonstrate that to others, you're going to help the healing, as we said, of the restructuring, not only of your life, of your world. So yes, that was your higher self. And thank you for that.
Thank you so much for that question. The next question. Wilhelm, have we met? And what does this mean?
Yes, we have. It means that you were heard the calling. We keep saying to you, we have waited for you your entire lives, and this was the time that you heard us. And we are saying this because we've given you so many things over the years that many of you couldn't hear. We even said that you won't hear us quite yet, but you do now. And this is why we're so pleased that you're doing it. So that means you're just awakening to what you're meant to do now, and just keep taking the steps, because there's something that's awakening within you now that you're starting to see. But give it time, because you'll start to trust it. And that's why you felt the memory of us knowing you. And we're so pleased. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. How do we overcome the limit of requesting the amount for my service and value?
Gradually. I want you to understand that you increase in value as you live, but you have to also increase your consciousness. This is why we have you look at this. We've given you work where we, first of all, have you go back, and because many of you forget this, where if you go back and look at, in just in monetary sense, what you might have invested in yourself, let's say. And it's not just the money or resources, but it's your time as well. When you can place a value on your time, then you can command the type of money that you should have. Now, we're saying this because our being hadn't done that. He's going to do it now because he could, accepting what we had given him was such a challenge because it didn't make sense. And it's the same for each of you, though, in your way. And so we've always said that your value increases, but you have to look at it and find it. And then your consciousness has to accept it. We gave you information. We had our being show you, none of this is accidental again. We had him show a message that we gave him in 1989 saying that sometimes you will have new information, but then you might try to act on it before it's assimilated into your being, meaning on the cellular level where it's integrated, where you can say, yes, this is who I am and I own it now and I can believe it. And this is, I can command this money. And we're so glad you brought this up because this particular time, and we've brought it up many times before, you must start to own more of who you are in the financial, monetary, material sense, because then you can do more to help your world move through this time. And the other thing that's happened, and we feel this from you, is that you have this spiritual idea that you didn't think was valuable enough that you could charge the kind of money that you could. And we're saying that it's more valuable now than ever before in your life. But give yourself time to accept that because it's a consciousness that you must move to, which is why we keep expanding guiding you to expand your consciousness into opening to receiving more. But you're on the path because, again, you could not have asked that question unless you knew on this deep level that you deserved more, and you will have it. Just give yourself time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. The next one up. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say, wow, I feel such a strong energy in this room right now. The last 14 days have been a little exhausting for me, so I am very, very, very grateful for the energy I feel now in your company, my dear friends. I love you all, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
And we thank you for noticing. And this is what we wanted to say. Yes, there's so much energy. Our being even had so much going through his body today that he started to get really, really hot. Many of you might be experiencing that because we've been sending him so much. And the last several weeks, we've done that for all of you to understand this particular moment. And again, a while ago, why this is happening, we want you to understand because we said it, but many of you probably wouldn't have done it. We gave you his astrological chart because if you can put yourself together, this is self-discovery again. If you can understand the energetic connections that you have with your individual path, then you see the energy that is coming through this being now, being a double Scorpio and with a Leo moon, and then Pluto ruling his chart, and where Mars is. It's all here at this moment. That's why you're feeling the energy, because we wanted to not only awaken him, but all of you, because the more of you who decide to awaken to who you are, love who you are, there are going to be such great changes in your world. So thank you for noticing.
Indeed. Thank you so much for noticing. Next question. Is there a specific timeline that we need to meet?
Yes, and it's here. You're on it. You're always on it, but there's a recognition that happens. Now, there is your individual timeline, because that's your evolutionary path, your individual blueprint. And so what we do is guide you to just understand that. But then you make this connection that it's happening, that it's occurring at the same time as your world, because they work together. You are creating your world, as we've said. And you have this individual journey, but it's a collective journey that you are all on now. So the way that it turns out, as we have said, is how much you decide to love and accept yourself and become willing to move to the next dimension of who you are. But the timeline of your universe is now. It's happening and it's changing, and it's going to continue to do that. But what we've been saying is that you will have a different experience of that depending on what you choose to do in your lives. If you choose to resist the changes that are coming through for you or what you're seeing in your world, it's going to be really uncomfortable. But if you choose to embrace them, you not only put a different energy into the world, but into your life, and then it becomes much easier. Then the journey through this period, because it'll be a while, but the journey through this period will be far more joyful for you. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. How can I use the energy of this solar eclipse to become more of who I am? What are some practical applications I can implement? Thank you, Wilhelm, for drawing me to you with much love and gratitude.
Oh, and thank you for that question. What we want you to do to use this energy is to envision what you want, just to sit, just to take some time, just to sit and envision what you want. Forget about the restrictions, forget about what you thought before or what you couldn't do. We just want you to envision that. And Jen, in that envisioning, we want you to know that it is here, that it is coming, and all you have to do is just keep allowing your consciousness to accept it. But first, what we want you to do is to envision that, because we've also felt that you have not given yourself permission to see that dream life that you want to have. That's the only thing. So this is where, in this time, we're so, thank you so much for saying that, because this is a time where the energy is so powerful for you to start to manifest the life that you want to have, and that's going to make a huge difference in your world. So just give yourself time during this, really time to sit and just meditate and envision that perfect life for you, and that will help all of us. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I have been with my husband for 26 years, and I have 2 little children, but this week he said to me he wants to divorce me.
Mhm.
We moved from California to Texas for a better life. I don't understand why he said we are over.
Because you wanted to become more. Nothing happens in your life accidentally. Now, first of all, we're going to give you something else. We know that this can feel uncomfortable and challenging for you, but you came to offer something so great for all women. You see, because you're going to demonstrate how you can now thrive after this devastating, what feels to you like this devastating news you've received. But we're saying it is not that, because you're going to demonstrate something so wonderful for your children, and then those children are going to be able to bring that forth into your world to give it to others. And so it's not terrible. You don't understand it, because your higher self had a plan for you that is unfolding at this time, because if you can move through this, you're going to help that female energy that we said is so needed in your world know how powerful it is, how powerful you can become. We don't see tragedy here. We see something that's coming about within you that's going to be so brilliant, and take your time, because you will start to understand it, because you've been given a path is vital to be demonstrated and shown in your world now. So we thank you for accepting the challenge, and we know that it doesn't feel easy right now, but it will, and we're going to keep loving you through it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Hello, Wilhelm. I find it hard to believe that I have talents. Can you help me?
That is the difficulty for all of you, because you've made judgments. You have talents, they're in there, and it's something that you want to do, something that you love, something you have an affinity for, something that has just been, you don't understand how you can do this. We told you this before, because our being, he couldn't understand why he was receiving us, and he's like, wait a minute, I can't do this, and he hid it for as many years as he could. We didn't allow that to go on for so long, but yes, you do. And so the only thing that for any of you that prevents you from discovering and owning your talents is your personal judgment. You have, and the judgment, we want you to understand, may not have been yours. You could have accepted it from others growing up, or from your evolutionary path. It doesn't matter, but it is something that you've accepted that has prevented you from understanding the talent that you have. The other thing too, we want to say this, because this is you. There's something that you do that you don't give any meaning to, that it's just something you love and you enjoy, but you think, well, this couldn't have any purpose. This couldn't have any meaning for anyone else. And we're saying it does, because if it's important for you, if it has meaning to you, it's the most immense gift and talent that you could decide to develop. So we want you to go back, and we're going to take you back to your childhood, because see, you knew it then. And then you started talking yourself out of it. But we want you to remember. And as you start to remember, you're going to start to develop it, and you're going to be shocked as well, because, wow, I didn't know that was my talent. And I didn't know that I was undervaluing it as well, because that's what you will find. We guarantee it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. And just letting everyone know that the Q&A button has been disabled. We have more than enough questions to carry us through the rest of the session, and we will be going a little bit over as per Roger's request, hearing Wilhelm needing to answer more questions today. The next question: how can I let financial wealth flow more powerfully than ever, knowing that my current tough money circumstances are actually a response to subconscious limits about balancing feminine and masculine energy? I want to stop paying for my partner and allow them to be the provider while still having my own financial abundance.
So why are you asking us? You just wrote the answer. That's exactly it. You are responsible for you. And so and the configurations that you have in relationships always help you to understand your individual journey, no matter what form they may take, how long they last, or whatever comes about. And so you are in a place now where you're wanting to understand that if you, and it's all in consciousness, first of all, we want to just start there, because you ask, how can I do this? You do it by opening your consciousness, open your ability to receive, open your ability to deserve all of the things that we have given you. One of the messages that we just shared the other day, which we used to use these kind of little taglines for our being here forever, but we said, relax and deserve. Relax and deserve. There could be nothing else. When you go into that, oh, I do deserve to have this. I do. And then you will start figuring out all the other elements of where you're moving now. But it's just, but the way that you do this is by opening your consciousness. You each are on this path that unfolds, and we like using little visuals. It unfolds this way. That's all. And it's consciousness. And you are right there. That entire thing that you wrote is so brilliant, and just stay with that for a while, because what's going to happen is you think about the question that you asked, you will see that you already answered it within the question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Hello, and thank you so much for this message that you remind us and love. So many years ago in my teens, I had a spiritual experience in the Anglican Church that I was attending at that time. I was kneeling at the altar praying and felt this immense joy, and I saw light like a vortex. And then this light deposited something in my right hand, if I remember it well. May I ask you for guidance on what that light was? Did they deposit something? And what did they deposit in me that day? What do the guides and angels need me to know about the significance of that day and the light that surrounded me, the deep joy that I felt, and what do they need me to know about that experience?
They need you to embody that experience because they were giving you a signal. And we gave you one the other day, and now you're just demonstrating it in your individual way, because you all will get this in your way. We said the Christ consciousness. That's what it is. You had it. You all have it. And we're using that, and we used it, and we explained it the other day, because that is the belief, that is the idea that each of you holds, what tells you that you're enough, that you have something, that you're connected to God, that you're connected to source. All that is, whatever terminology you might use, that's what that was. And so, but you've used that term in your human civilization to separate yourselves and think that only certain people had it. But what you received on that day was this awareness, and that's why it felt so wonderful, and that's why it felt light, because you're saying, oh, you have it as well. So all you have to do is keep embracing that, and you're on the path now because you understood it, you felt it, and it was a visual for you. Many of you will have these things, what we call glimpses, and they'll come to you in different ways, but they're always there. You just decide when you're going to notice them, and you notice them. But now what we want you to do is just keep embracing it, because it'll grow more and more as you do that. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for that question. Hi, Roger. During our last live session, I discussed my recurring guilt-related issues during a major astronomical event, like the eclipse on October 14. Last time, you mentioned it might be related to my awakening and service to humanity. Doctors couldn't find any medical problems.
Mhm.
I'm a 21-year-old engineer with diverse interests beyond my field, including electronics, computer science, AI, neuroscience, anthropology, physics, chemistry, quantum mechanics, and astronomy. I've delved into spirituality and studied various religions. My life's path has shifted, and I'm struggling to find purpose. I've excelled academically and in leadership roles, but lost touch with friends. I need to understand why I'm suffering and how to fulfill my soul contract. Any guidance is appreciated.
You're doing it. We love you so much. We can't even begin to tell you. You have, and it's challenging for you because you are this extraordinary being that decided to incarnate in the world at this time to offer awareness. And yes, it's going to be a struggle because no one looks like you. No one, and then your age thing, this is what many of you do. You keep making these judgments because your evolutionary path has nothing to do with your chronological age, because many of you, many young people are coming into the world with a greater awareness, and we've demonstrated that so much. We have Ariana in our group who demonstrates that so brilliantly, and you are another one, and yours is so needed in the world right now, and we're just going to keep guiding you because it's an acceptance thing. This is going to be your self-discovery is so shocking for you because you incarnated with this unique plan that's going to serve so many, and we're just going to keep guiding you there because all of the things that you are encompassing now is what your world's going to use. We have said that we told our being that he was to marry science, spirituality, and human potential. You are doing that. You're a perfect example of what we're talking about. And so the more of you come to understand that, and again, when we use spirituality, we just mean coming to the awareness, the greater awareness of that you're all the same, that you're all equal, that you all have something. That's what we mean. There's no separation. We don't use anything that's religious because that's what you've used to hold yourselves back. But you came in with this greater, broader understanding from your consciousness, your higher self, that is meant to be in this world now, and it's going to do great things. And we're going to keep working with you because you are just what we've waited for, let's say, because you are going to bring it in. And it is not a struggle. We want you to give up this struggle. We just want you to start to embrace and just accept. It's going to be challenging because it's so odd, because you couldn't have known that this is who you're going to develop into. Our being didn't know he was going to be this sage and mystic, and he had all of this. But what's what gives him the ability to help guide you more. And we're so pleased that you're here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Hello. Can you suggest one or two practical things in addition to meditation that we can do to start finding out what particular gift we have been given in this birth to help with these times?
Yes, experiment. Experiment, because see, you have so many things that have come up for you and that you can't choose which way to go. That's all that's happening right now. And we can feel that because you have, abilities, inclinations in very different areas, but you need to get to the one that gives you the most joy. And when you start doing that, it's going to be a really wonderful experience for you. And so we want you to start experimenting, because what we feel is that there's several different things that you've tried, you keep looking at, and what do they do for you? Ask them the questions. Is this my path? Is this who I'm supposed to be? Does this give me joy? You're going to start to find it because we know it's there, because we can feel it. And it's just you deciding that you can be the person to accomplish it, that you can be the one who has this talent, this ability to bring forth, because it's in there. And be patient with yourself. And this is what we say to all of you, is we want you to be patient with yourself, because you have all these great things that you've been denying and putting away, and your world has done that too. That's why it's going to take a little bit of time. But you are the people who can start to understand this now and embracing that next place. But you're going to need to just experiment a bit, because you have so you haven't understood this, but you have so many. That's why it's been challenging. But we want you to get to the one that resonates, that just hits you in your heart, that you know, this is who I am. And sometimes that takes a little bit of time, so don't worry, but you're on that path. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I feel stuck in finding my gift and passion. Any tips for this point in my journey?
We just gave it to you. And the alignment of your questions coming in are just really wonderful. Every limitation that you experience is in your thinking. It's in your consciousness, which is why it takes the process of asking the correct questions, allowing the answer to come to you, because you each had connection to your higher selves. What happens is, and the reason that we told you the little story about our being not wanting to see that particular documentary that we placed in front of him is because he feared what he might see. Oh, wait a minute. Am I actually supposed to do this? Am I actually meant to listen to guidance that I have? And you each have that. And so what we're feeling is that you've been given guidance that is challenging for you to accept or to move through, but it's there. And the more you allow yourself in your, quiet times, let's say, to just access that information, you're going to be on your path, because that's really where you are now. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I had pain that kept coming and going over time in my left leg. I somehow now know that it's gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
I heard my mom say that she has the same pain a couple of days ago. What is it?
It's a generation restriction. We've given you so much about the mind-body connection. It's something that takes a while for you to understand. Our being has had, as we said, every kind of pain. I mean, when he was a teenager, he couldn't walk down the street without his knees falling apart. He'd go, "What's that?" It was about walking on his own two legs and his feet and becoming stable. That was when he doesn't have those difficulties. Well, you can move through them when you start to understand. So you came to an awareness, and when you're left, you said it's gone forever, which means that you integrated another part of your higher understanding, and that's why you don't have to have that particular pain. It's not going to be there, and you knew that. But now what you've also done is that you've developed a skill. You've developed ability that you knew that if you could connect to more of yourself, then possibly your physical body would heal. And then you can keep carrying that on to other aspects of your life, because you develop this ability to focus. We've given you something before called focused attention. You all have it. And what that means is when you use your mind in the moment, in the present moment, to focus your energies of your mind and your attention onto what you want, then it comes about. And you demonstrated that because you wanted the pain to go away. And now that's what's happened. But you will translate that into other aspects of your life, and you'll be off to a really great, accelerated part of your individual journey, your evolutionary journey, and that's going to aid all others. Thank you so much.
I kept getting messages that I have a life-changing decision that is coming soon, and my choice will determine my life for years to come. But it's been months, and I still don't know what that decision is. So many things have been changing in my life, and I've been wondering if I missed this major decision or if it's still coming. What should I do?
It's here now. It is here right now. This is why we did this. This is why we brought you in. This is why we attracted you. This is why we said you are meant to thrive now. It wasn't before. And so we need you to let go of the idea that you missed it. You never miss anything. You just decide when you're going to listen, when you become awake, and you became awake now. And so, but we need you to let go of the idea that it should have happened before. And that's never possible. And this is why we also said there are no accidents. Our being could not have done what he is doing now, what he's going to do moving forward, unless the timing was right. And the timing is right now, which is why we wanted you all to see the configurations of your planets and the universe on this particular day. So what we're saying to you is that now is the time you're meant to do it. And the decision will be to own who you are and do the things that are in front of you to do. That's all. And so you haven't missed it. You're just developing it, and you're right on time. And we love you for bringing that up. Thank you.
As a child, I was very clairvoyant, seeing and hearing heavenly beings. Then my father died in an accident and my mother was stabbed, and I lost all abilities still to this day. Why can't I command this energy back?
Because you think you can't. And because all of those experiences were showing you that you were given something that you could do that, and this is the time that you're going to start doing it more. The trauma that you experienced through your history, through your family, was for you to understand how powerful you are, for understand how much you had evolved and how much you had accepted. We tell you all that we would like for you to think about some of the difficulties or challenges that you experience in your life as agreements that you made to move through, because you will come to a higher understanding in your consciousness that then you can live the life you're meant to have, and you can give that information to others. So you are in this place now of understanding your journey. This is why, again, when we give you our work, we have you do this deep dive into your history, because what you discover is how it was all planned and it was all perfectly laid out when you understand it, to bring you to this greater awareness now. So you are at that place where you're beginning to reach this understanding. So just give yourself a bit more time to accept it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilhelm and Roger. I'm so empowered by your messages and timing. Roger was on my podcast a while ago, and I love the experience. I just realized that I'm exactly where and when I need to be. What practices can I adopt to expand my divine influence through my coaching and business? Thank you for your service to humanity on this plane.
No. Thank you for yours. That's what we want to say. Because, see, all we do is awaken this part of you that still had this little bit of disbelief about how powerful you could become, about what the influence you might be making. And so all we do is awaken that. That's all. We're just guiding you to that memory of who you are, and you're doing the same thing. And so what you're doing in your work now is so incredibly valuable and needed in your world, on your planet. So yes, you are doing it, and just the only thing we want you to do is each and every day is to appreciate, to take the time, whatever we know you do many things, but we want you to do something very specifically, is to take the time and sit with yourself and just appreciate what you have accomplished, and knowing that what you have accomplished, you're giving to others, and that's what's going to make the difference in your world. Thank you so much.
How can I, as a mom, help my son be himself and learn the difference between his true nature and any limiting beliefs he might have picked up in his young life? How can I support him in changing just these beliefs without trying to improve his true self? I want to guide him in life where he needs me and let him gain his own experiences.
You do that by demonstrating it first in yourself. That's all. This is what we want you to understand, and for all parents, because you are vessels that brought in beings into the world. But then what happens at times is that you want to control their individual journeys, which that is never your job, because they have a soul path that they're on, and the way that they there's a configuration that happens. They came in to be with you, but they will learn from you by you first taking care of yourself. That's all. And it becomes challenging for parents, because you think that what you're doing is only to take care of them and guide them and protect them and all of that. You have to do that with yourself first, and then they pick up the example. You all do that, you see, because you come in to demonstrate certain things, and then you give it to others. It's the same thing with your children, but you must do that with yourself first. This is the thing that we told our being, that, okay, you can help everybody else, but what about helping yourself? What about loving yourself? And this is what we're saying to you. If you do that, your son will start to see that example, and then it will encourage them to open up to their evolutionary path. And then the other thing we want to say is that if you were to speak to your son, oh, this is so good. If you were to speak to your son about your journey, oh, wow, I didn't understand this about myself, but then I came to understand that will be the most valuable thing you can do. When you can show your vulnerability, when you can become more transparent, when you stop making your kids like these beings that don't understand things, then they start to understand more. Thank you so much.
I meditate every day and always have a Native American chief show up, but no conversation. Is there something I'm not understanding?
Yes. The American chief is showing up to say that you are here now to take care of the things that the indigenous people couldn't do before. You are here to show more empowerment. That's why we keep coming into your vision, so you can understand that. We want to make this correction in the way the world is operated. We have said there's an imbalance that has existed in your world forever, and this is why you're moving through this restructuring, and you each will do that in different ways, and you each will have different symbols that come to you to show you where your role is. And you're getting one with the Indian chief because there's so much around your world where you're discovering now where particular lands and properties and things were taken from those who lived there. And this is why we also use the United States, because it did occur there. And this is the reckoning and the rehabilitation, let's call it, that is occurring there as well. And so you're being shown, yes, I have to embody more of myself so I can just correct everything that didn't go on for the ancestors. We're saying you change your past by becoming yourself now. That's in your lives and in your world. Thank you.
I meditate every day. Oh, that's the one that we just did. My mom is in hospice. Will I be able to communicate with my mom when she crosses over? Will I be able to hear her? I have a hard time hearing my higher self and my spirit guide, so how will I be able to hear my mom? Earlier this week, I felt like she was leaving because my heart was breaking and I felt a pull or a separation.
Mm-hmm. You will hear her when you decide that you can. It'll show up in different ways. You never lose communication with those who leave your physical form. You just don't. But you have to change your belief about that, and it'll show up in different ways. We'll give you a message because Roger went through this, and we'll give you the story because it showed up in very particular ways. His mother, when his mother died, it was the most traumatic thing for him. But he was there. He's guiding her through that process and that transition. And then afterwards, he had this idea of, they had to prepare her for the funeral, and he didn't know what he was going to do, but he knew that she was going to communicate something. He just had that openness, and then it happened. She sent him a message that was undeniable. He couldn't have missed it. She told him what particular jewelry she wanted on her body when she was in the casket. Right? That seems unbelievable, but he saw it. You will have something similar when you don't cut off the idea that you can communicate with her. That's all. And so where she is now, and she's doing a wonderful job of processing through this, and she's aiding you because she didn't leave right away. She's giving you time to process this. And as you understand that she's just going to go on, she's transitioning, which is what you all do. You just transition to another state of existence. And when you can hold on to that, that communication is never lost. It will come about, but you have to also stop denying or stop believing that it could not happen. Just allow it to happen naturally, which it will. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that question. And we have one more question to go, but before we ask it, I just want to let everyone know that we are doing things a little bit different today. When Wilhelm is finished, we're going to have Yarna close us out. So if you're used to leaving right away, we invite you to stay with us for a minute so that Yarna can close us out very powerfully. And here's the final question. We are trying to have a baby with surrogate as I have a problem with my uterus. I feel like there's a blockage in my soul wanting to come out as our child. How do I find out what this blockage is, and how do we resolve it so that we can have a child?
We don't feel that there's a blockage there. We're just feeling that you're trying to put a particular result on it and not allowing your higher plan, your higher self's plan to come through. We need you to let go of the trying part, and we want you to go into more allowing for the correct situation to appear. I mean, you might come to this place because we know we can feel that you want to have this child. And we know that it might feel to you that it needs to be the surrogate, that it needs to be coming that way. But if that doesn't occur, then you may even choose that you're going to adopt someone. You may choose that you want to do that if you want to honor that mothering spirit. But what we feel is that you're having a bit of control over the outcome. And we would like for you to allow the outcome. That's a very different energy. And then it's going to be for your highest good for all involved. It's going to be the highest good for your individual life path and journey, but also for all others. So just kind of envision what you want it to be, and then allow it to unfold in a way that is correct for you and everyone else. And that is exactly what will occur. Thank you so much for that. We want to say, as we leave, we want to tell you that what we have given you is to understand, especially during this period, because you're going to move through some periods that are going to look a little challenging or maybe chaotic. Everything we have given you is to bring you to this greater state of awareness, because it happens gradually, so that you can help your world come to that greater state of awareness, because that's how powerful you are. That's why you are in the world now. That's why you exist. And the only thing that we've ever wanted is for you to understand your importance and your significance in this planetary change that none of you have experienced, but this is why you're here. And so when you start seeing all the things moving through your world, remember who you are. You are these powerful beings who came to offer something to your planet that would cause it to become so much better if you decide to love yourself and become prosperous. That is all. And we love you so much. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Rog. Thanks, Wilhelm. I definitely enjoyed it. All the hearts coming out as well. So what we are wanting to announce is that we all experience those dramatic changes, right? Each one of us, Roger, I, Stan, Davey, Sunny, the members, right? You, each single one of us is doing that. And Wilhelm has given a philosophy to Roger that is called Your Life Operating Instructions. And Roger took this philosophy and created a program that is called 4 Weeks to Your Best Life. And he created it already in December 2021. So we have opened that program again. So to put this work into the world and to help, to support, to guide even more people towards, fulfilling their destiny and following their divine, mission, I'd say. So the premise of the philosophy is that you hear it in the session, every soul is born to succeed in their lives and flourish, but still we must to go through those limiting beliefs, thoughts in our lives to become magnificent and contribute to the evolution of our world. And nothing is accidentally. If you've seen the latest video from Roger and me, it's just a perfect example of that. And Roger has demonstrated the power of his work several times, and now we are the team to bring it in, right? And we are creating a movement with you to really help us all individually, right? But also collectively. This is always an equal exchange of help. So we're coming together, creating that movement, and we are opening that program up now. And the link will also be seen in the chat. So the complete program of all of this is your last development program. This is an entire year of total life transformation, and you will have the opportunity to move to all that as well. As you are a powerful and magnificent being, and we truly believe that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, and to have the support to do all of that is very, very beautiful, as the members can agree. So you will see the link in the chat. We're closing now-ish, so click on the link, save the link, so you won't miss out. And we're looking forward to see you next time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for deciding to be on this planet and to contributing to the world and the mission that we are all on. So all my love. Thanks for your presence, and see you next time.
I find this work is very powerful. They change a lot very quickly. It's like quite surprising how things are changing for me.
I want to say how grateful I am that you've done this. And the time that you've put through on this is just amazing. And as we get older and we put through something like this into the world, you don't know the benefits of it until years later.
I just want to thank you for the program. Probably a year or two ago, if there was a tough decision to make, especially about money or anything like that, I would let fear and worry guide me away from a decision that might have helped me grow.
I have moved. I have made some positive changes. Hey, good, bad, or ugly, you did it. That's the main thing.
When you say the time is now, and I always appreciate it, because now more than ever, I feel a little bit more satisfied with myself, because especially lately, I keep leaving a project not finished.
I love the program. I love the questions, but I think that being aware of everything that's inside of you and bringing it out onto paper, it really does make you step forward in that area.
The way the questions penetrate into your memory and into your past experiences is so unique. Yeah, it really goes deep very, very quickly. I mean, I'm only on day 3, but the way like the questions are presented and the things you read before and the whole steps you go through, probably a lot of people's experiences, but it goes really deep, really, really quickly.
I mean, every day has its difficulties, but like, it's better than it was. You know, I mean, I'm doing more things that I enjoy, and like I find that I personally feel like I'm meant to do my book and everything, and then with the acting, I'm working on all that.
I've been taking so much courses, like especially with this pandemic, I approach different from Tony Robbins, from Bob Proctor, from Jack Canfield, and also I've been following Abraham Hicks, but never really brought me the result that I wanted to do it. So I'm very, I mean, this course is very more, I found that I think it's a bit faster.
Roger, I just wanted to say thank you again, because a few years ago I realised that voice coaching wasn't the only thing that I could do, and that I had something else. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what it was.
For a limited time, learn more about how Roger can help you step into your best life by going to 4weekstoyourbestlife.com today.